What if I told you that hazel eyes aren't actually one single color? You've heard people describe them as greenish-brown, maybe golden in the sunlight. But that's only scratching the surface, because hazel eyes are some of the most misunderstood and scientifically fascinating eyes in the world. They don't get their magic from a single pigment. Instead, they're the result of a perfect optical illusion, a complex play between melanin, light scattering, and a rare yellow pigment called lipochrome. Together, they create that ever-changing swirl of gold, green, and brown that seems to shift every time you move. Scientists still argue whether hazel should even be called a color. Some call it a blend, others a spectrum, and some believe it's an evolutionary masterpiece designed by genetics and sunlight itself. So what are the real types of hazel eyes that exist, and which one might be yours? Let's uncover the 7 kinds you won't believe are actually real. If you or someone you know have hazel eyes, subscribe. Let's start with the most recognizable and often the most misunderstood type, the classic green-brown hazel eyes. At first glance, they might look simply green, but take a closer look and you'll notice tiny flecks of warm brown or copper swirling around the pupil, gradually blending into a cool green outer ring. This balance of earthy and vibrant tones gives them that unmistakable hazel shimmer. So what's really happening here? It all comes down to moderate melanin levels, not enough to turn the iris brown, but just enough to keep it from being purely green. The rest of that magic comes from how light scatters across the iris fibers, especially in daylight. That's why sometimes they look more green, and under indoor light they seem more brown. Genetically, this classic hazel variation is most common in people of European or mixed ancestry backgrounds, though it can appear anywhere. And the best part? These eyes seem to change moods with the weather, bright, lively, and endlessly intriguing. Now we step into the world of light and warmth, the golden hazel eyes, where green meets gold in the most hypnotic way. These eyes shimmer like liquid sunlight, a delicate mix of amber, honey, and olive tones that seem to glow from within. In the right light, they almost look molten, as if the iris is holding on to the last rays of sunset. But that golden gleam isn't just your imagination. It's caused by a low concentration of melanin mixed with higher levels of lipochrome, a yellowish pigment that gives the eyes their warm, golden hue. Together, they create an effect scientists sometimes call light interplay, where your eye color can literally shift between amber, green, and light brown, depending on the light around you. Think of it as nature's built-in golden hour filter. It's rare, it's luminous, and it's one of the most enchanting variations of hazel you'll ever see. Next, we have one of the most quietly captivating variations, the olive hazel eyes. At first glance, they might appear simply greenish-brown, but under natural light, something fascinating happens. A subtle grey-green hue rises to the surface, giving the eyes a cool, earthy depth, like mossy stone or forest leaves after rain. It's a shade that feels ancient, mysterious, and grounded. This color forms when there's just enough melanin to soften the brightness of green, while Rayleigh scattering, the same phenomenon that makes the sky blue, diffuses the remaining light, creating that smoky, olive-toned overlay. Scientists believe this effect is more common among people with Mediterranean or Middle Eastern ancestry, where generations of sun exposure helped shape the pigment balance in the iris. The result? Eyes that seem to shift from muted green to bronze, depending on the light, calm, complex, and impossible to define in a single word. Now we enter the realm of the rare and elusive, the grey-hazel eyes. At first, they might look like a soft grey, but when the light shifts, hints of green and brown flicker through, like clouds parting to reveal hidden color beneath. It's a mesmerizing illusion, one moment cool and silvery, the next warm and alive. What makes them so unique is their very low melanin concentration, almost as little as what's found in blue eyes, but with just enough pigment to add warmth and depth. The result is a color that doesn't fit neatly into any category. Some scientists believe gray-hazel eyes occur when collagen fibers in the iris scatter light more evenly, muting the usual greens and browns into a smoky neutral tone. They're often described as stormy, and it's easy to see why. These eyes carry an air of calm strength and quiet mystery, as if holding a secret you'll never quite uncover. Now we reach a truly striking variation, the amber hazel eyes. These eyes glow with a golden-green warmth like sunlight filtering through autumn leaves. They're often mistaken for pure amber, but look closer and you'll see subtle undertones of green or copper swirling beneath the surface, a blend that makes them appear alive, even in shadow. This color comes from an unusual pigment combination, high levels of lipochrome, a yellowish pigment also found in green eyes, mixed with traces of pheomelanin, the same reddish pigment that gives red hair its color. Together they create that glowing, honeyed hue unique to amber hazel eyes. They're incredibly rare, often found in people with ancestry from Spain, Brazil, and parts of the Middle East, and they carry a kind of wild beauty that's hard to ignore. Look into a pair of amber hazel eyes and it's like staring into liquid gold, deep, ancient, and unmistakably alive. Now we step into one of the most mesmerizing sights nature has ever created, central heterochromia hazel eyes. These are the eyes that make people stop mid-sentence. Why? Because they look like they're glowing from within. Picture this, a golden, copper, or even amber ring circling the pupil, surrounded by a completely different outer color, usually green, hazel, or light brown. It's not makeup, it's not lighting, it's pure genetics. This phenomenon occurs when melanin isn't evenly distributed across the iris. The center holds one pigment concentration, while the outer ring holds another. Scientists believe this happens when melanin production switches off at different stages during development, leaving behind that stunning two-toned effect. It's like your eyes have their own solar eclipse, a glowing sun in the center, framed by a darker horizon. Photographers adore it, cameras struggle to capture it, and in person it's almost impossible to look away, too. And finally we reach the showstopper, the starburst hazel eyes. Imagine looking into an iris where golden rays seem to explode outward from the pupil, like sunlight bursting through clouds. That's the starburst effect, a pattern so unique that no two pairs ever look exactly the same. This captivating design happens when melanin is unevenly distributed across the iris, dense near the center, lighter toward the edges. The contrast creates those radiant spikes or streaks that fan outward, giving the illusion of motion and light. Depending on the lighting, the eyes can shift between hazel, gold, and green, as though they're alive with energy. It's not just rare, it's one of the least common pigment patterns ever documented. In fact, some eye researchers say this variant is rarer than full heterochromia itself. So if your eyes look like this, you're not just seeing the world, your eyes are putting on a show. If you or someone you know have hazel eyes, subscribe, because what you carry in your eyes isn't just color. It's a story written by light, pigment, and evolution itself. Hazel eyes are living mosaics, shifting and shimmering with every glance. No two are ever truly alike. Maybe you have the golden warmth of the sunlit hazel, the cool mystery of gray-hazel, or that rare starburst pattern that seems to glow from within. Each one is a reflection of ancestry, environment, and the tiny twists of DNA that make you, you. So the next time someone says you have hazel eyes, remember this. They're not describing a single shade, they're describing an entire spectrum. A spectrum born from light, science, and a little bit of magic, because hazel eyes aren't just beautiful. They're alive, ever-changing, and utterly unforgettable.